Hi, this is Ernest Lee, author of Common Sense II, The Liberty Pledge. This video is Section 3. If you have not yet watched Sections 1 and 2, please do so first so that the booklet flows as it was intended to. Common Sense II, The Liberty Pledge, Section 3, The Next Greatest Generation. The 70th anniversary of D-Day had just been observed at this writing. Besides being reminded of the price paid for our freedom and liberty by members of the greatest generation during World War II, the event caused me to think how different, but also how similar, our present circumstances are to then. Our country has a terrible enemy that threatens our existence. Our greatest generation fought against evil, determined to destroy our nation and rule the world. We face evil in our present that has waged a silent but deadly war for decades, designed to eliminate our way of life while replacing our values, families, and religions with centralized control. Worse, they have been successful in hiding their progressive agenda for our destruction while their plan was being accomplished. Worse still is the fact that they have been successfully winning every battle while most of our citizenry doesn't even realize we've been at war. The enemy we face today will stop at nothing to rule and control us. They are already brainwashing our children while they spread lies, encourage racism, and class warfare. We are told that our nation must be transformed by them through their regulations in order for our nation to be just and fair. Wrong is suddenly right, up is down, propaganda is spewed and spun by the left-leaning media that claims to report news. The news is filtered, altered, while real news is overlooked, downplayed, or ignored. Our elected leaders refuse to listen while holding themselves above us, superior to us, while lying to us. Their only interest is retaining their power. Their primary mission is to keep expanding their control. Once in office, they turn their focus away from their promises and concentrate on lining their own pockets and scheming on how to be reelected in each cycle. The quest for power, status, and self-serving goals are their top priority, while service to their constituents their lowest. You may wonder by my many references to war if I am proposing or going to propose an armed revolution. The revolution has already occurred, and we the people lost. The silent coup waged for over 100 years against us is now nearly complete. To borrow a phrase from Mark Levin, our nation is now in a post-constitutional phase. We the people have allowed this coup to run its course. The progressives, socialists, and communists won without firing a shot. Restoration of our constitutional republic is our duty, but time is running out to make the restoration a reality. Once you accept these statements for the truths they represent, you have several serious choices to make. I am proposing a counter-revolution that explodes from the grassroots, overwhelming our elected officials, starting at the local level, city councils, county commissions, then up to our state legislators, and applying constant and growing pressure for our states to assert their power and authority they hold over the federal government to restrain, reverse, and repeal over 100 years of progressive damage using Article 5 of the Constitution for our historical first Convention of States. It will take a concerted effort in thousands of localities to maintain the pressure to accomplish this goal, but the goal is too important for us to ignore. Choose to become a part of the next greatest generation, the group of citizens that awakened the resolve within themselves to stop the out-of-control federal government and total destruction of our nation. Your ethnic background, your religion, your marital status, your sexual orientation, your pro-life or pro-choice stance, your wealth or class status or lack thereof doesn't matter. Your current or previous party affiliation does not matter, because at your core, you are an American that believes in your God-given rights. You value and want to pass to future generations liberty and freedom in even greater measure than you enjoyed. Bottom line, you want your country back. That determination and success is what will make those of us that join together and participate the next greatest generation. Remember this: it will not take a majority to enable restoration, but it will take a tireless, dedicated minority of us willing to stand together, risking all, even our lives, to accomplish our goal. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is charging onward in spite of fear. Make the commitment right now to use the Liberty Pledge and do your part to ensure the success of this process. Here's a quote: "The difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will." Vince Lombardi. Who is ready to reclaim our nation for its rightful owners, the people? Do we have the will, strength, and commitment to be the victors? Will we again rise up united against tyranny to guarantee our rights, liberty, and freedom? Will we regulate the ruling class back into serving us instead of dictating to us? I am past ready to turn the rulers back into the servants. I am sure the question racing through your mind is, how can we accomplish this? My solution is using the Liberty Pledge as the tool it was designed to be to help ensure success in calling a historic Article 5 Convention of States. Am I arrogant enough to think my solution is the only one? Of course not. I'm sure more ways exist to accomplish the task. In fact, the Convention of States Project, conventionofstates.com, is all over this problem and has been since 2013. Other groups have been formed with specific focus, such as balanced budget, term limits, state sovereignty, anti-abortion, and many, many more. All restoration organizations from all sides of the political spectrum need to unite towards a common goal. Even if your organization refuses to affiliate or associate with this effort, do it on your own. Using the Liberty Pledge as designed is a link in the chain toward restoring our nation. It is what you can do to participate in the revolution I've outlined. I call on every branch and chapter of the Tea Party to participate. I call on every veteran and veterans organization to participate. I call on all religious and civic organizations to participate. In essence, I call on all patriotic Americans to rise up and seize this opportunity to restrict and restrain the federal government through the revolution that Article 5 of our Constitution offers us as a real and lasting solution to what is wrong with our nation. You will notice in the Liberty Pledge that the COS Project, as well as Mark Levin's book, The Liberty Amendments, are highlighted. This is not to sell more books for Mark. I'm not getting a cut. But it is an endorsement of its well-thought-out suggestions for proposed amendments that will go a long way toward returning power to the states and to the people. The COS Project is, in my opinion, genius in their concept and outline on how to be successful in bringing about the Article 5 process for the people. At this writing, the project has a great start, but needs all of our support to succeed and speed up the process. I do not speak for Mark Levin or the Convention of States project in any capacity other than giving my endorsement of both. Sadly, apathy knows no boundaries in our nation. Some people won't finish reading this short work because they don't care. They are too busy, or they think it is someone else's problem, duty, or responsibility. Others of them will agree completely, but still do nothing. They won't ask questions. They will object on scarce knowledge. They have no imagination or vision. They will refuse to believe, or worse, believe things that are not true about what an Article 5 Convention of States is and was designed by our founders to do. There are several false facts and fears, untruths planted and spread by those in power that are extremely afraid that a Convention of States could actually become a reality and tear down their playhouse. What can I say to any of you doubters to change your hearts and minds? Probably nothing. To those of you that believe electing a new president is the answer, or that enough election cycles will be our salvation, I have a few questions for you. Do you truly believe the federal government, elected officials from either party, will ever downsize any part of government or willingly give up their power, privilege, and status for the good of the country and its citizens? Do you also believe that those in federal agencies will willingly downsize or recommend reducing their budget or authority for the good of the nation? Do you think Congress will stop exempting themselves from laws they pass that the rest of us have to obey? Do you believe that Congress will ever put term limits on themselves? Do you want to be a part of changing all that and more? If you do want true and lasting change, memorize and use this phrase from William H. Johnson as a mantra. If it is to be, it's up to me. Sounds too simple to work, doesn't it? Here's another true statement. If you will commit to an honest effort for just 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week, together we can accomplish the seemingly overwhelming task of saving our nation. Yes, a total restoration of our constitutional republic that ensures our future generations can enjoy even more liberty and be free of all the burdens we have allowed the federal government to place upon us. Who can't find or spare a total of 1 hour a week for such an outcome? Can you? Will you? I will even explain what you can get done in just 10 minutes daily. The Liberty Pledge, demands of the people. We, the people of the United States of America, in order to restore our constitutional republic, stand united in making the following demands of our elected officials and those hoping to serve us by being lawfully elected. We view the Liberty Pledge as many things. It is intended to be a petition when signed by lawful citizens, as well as a pledge to honor the will of the people when signed by elected officials or candidates. The content of this document will also be used as a resolution when passed by local, county, and individual state governments as acknowledgement and endorsement of the demands of the people. First and foremost, the Liberty Pledge is an affirmation that the Constitution of the United States of America be recognized as the supreme law of the land, and all that sign pledge to protect and defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We the people further stress that the Constitution has boundaries that are definite and clear, and we will no longer tolerate the violation of its boundaries. We demand that all unconstitutional federal agencies be defunded, disarmed, and dissolved with all powers that have been unjustly removed from the states and the people restored to their proper authority as stated in the 10th Amendment of our Constitution. We consider these federal agencies unconstitutional because, with limited or no oversight, they create regulations that become unconstitutional laws, while our Constitution clearly states that only the legislative branch can pass bills that only then become laws when signed by the President. The lawful method for the people to achieve these goals is found in the Constitution's Article 5. We, the people, demand under Article 5 of the Constitution that our state legislative bodies immediately call for a convention of states to be convened at the earliest possible date to propose amendments to the Constitution to further limit the power of the federal government using the convention call document of the Convention of States Project. Topics the people demand to be addressed include, but would not be limited to, term limits for House, Senate, and Supreme Court, repeal of the 16th Amendment, abolishing the IRS, and adding an amendment for a flat or fair tax, repeal of the 17th Amendment, restoring the Senate to its original intent of representing the state, balanced budget amendment, new legislation to be single issue in content, written in plain English with no added waste, pork, or special interest riders. English is our national language, and all other proposed amendments found in Mark Levin's book, The Liberty Amendments. Furthermore, the people demand that once such a convention is convened, it be recessed but never adjourned in order to speed up this process as and when needed in the future. Once amendments are released by the Convention of States, the people demand speedy ratification of the amendments by the state legislative bodies. We, the people, demand our liberty and freedom be restored and pledge to speak loudly with our votes against any and all elected officials that do not take seriously our demands or that do not carry out our orders. The people, through our state legislative bodies, created this constitutional republic, and we stand united in our efforts to restore our nation to its former greatness. All who sign and present the Liberty Pledge agree to seek solutions to our nation's problems and support all those that practice putting the good of the nation in front of personal interest. Current public officials need to carefully note everything the Liberty Pledge contains, because the will of the people shall no longer be ignored. The Liberty Pledge is available as a PDF download on thelibertypledge.com. I encourage you to take and print out copies of the Liberty Pledge and get to work. This ends Section 3. Please look for Section 4. Thanks for listening, and remember, share it with your friends.